Hello, my name is Andrea. I'm a visual designer, one of the two founding partners of the Comalab Advertise agency based in Milan, Italy. This course aims to teach students the fundamental tool to work professionally on Adobe After Effects software. They will perfectly learn how to work with motion tracking a moving subject, with different technique, tracking one or more points of your video and using 3D camera tracking. Tracking is in fact among one of the fundamental animation techniques for those who work with After Effects, and this tutorial, each part of the project will be explained in detail to allow the student to learn the technique. I create this course based on my 14 years of teaching experience in leading international graphic design and fashion university. Following this course, you will be able to create a graphic animation that tracks a moving subject with one or more points and to track a movement using a professional 3D tracking camera. This will allow you to create captivation animation for the title of your video from a promo video or to make your project more impactful and dynamic. What are you waiting for? Let's begin! Welcome to this new tutorial and thank you for choosing this class. Today we are going to speak about a new feature of After Effects, which is the tracking. Especially we are going to focus ourselves in two ways of tracking. We are going to tracking the single object moving to the footage, and we are going to use the 3D camera tracker. Let's start seeing some examples. This is the tracking with the object. So we are using the tracker to track the movement of the camera and insert the text track over it that moves together with the van. In this case, the text follows the car moving through the footage, thanks to the tracking movement. In this case, we are using the 3D camera tracker. So the software analyzes the footage and render it, creating a 3D camera, and then a 3D object, like our text, follow and it's visualized through the camera. Exactly like that. Let's now discover step by step each one of these techniques. Let's start together. First of all, I create a new composition. I set up the composition choosing the preset HTV 720 with a width 1080 and height 720. The frame rate is up to you. In this case, the preset proposed me 25, which is okay for me. Then I import, for it file import file, the footage I would like to use. In this case, I would like to use this footage. I drag it on the timeline. In case the footage is bigger, I can adapt to the composition. In case I would like to have the same size of my footage, I have to drag the footage in the composition option so that it fits perfectly. With the window on the main menu, I open the tracker palette, which is here on the right, and I select the track motion instead of the other three. I have four options: tracking the camera, warp stabilizer, track motion, and stabilize motion. Let's select track motion. The video is pretty long, so just to show you how this works, I'm going to select just the first 1.5 seconds of video. Let's do almost 2.5 seconds, it's fine. I cut it with a set out so that just this 2.5 seconds, it will be the video that I will work with. With the track motion selected, I have to choose between tracking the position, tracking the scale, tracking the rotation. In this case, I'm tracking the position because the movement is pretty simple. Here I have a track point, which I can select it just dragging over it. I move it with my keyboard cursor and I choose a point on my video which is having a good focus, so no blur, a good contrast, and it's always present on my video. And then I adjust my tracking point so that it fits perfectly with the object. I think in this case, this is a perfect object to track. The next step is to move to the main menu, Layer, New, and to create a null object, which will be our tracker layer. To give the name, I have to press on the text, Enter, and I call it tracker layer. Then I have to start doing the tracking. I check if my track point, if I move my cursor, the vertical cursor in the beginning of the video is still on the position. If not, I set up again the track point so that I can start from 0, and I press on play, analyze, forward. He starts analyzing and rendering. And this is the animation I get. After that, I have to press on the button Edit Target because I want to associate to my animation the layer I created before with a null object called tracker layer. Exactly this. I confirm and I apply what I did. He asked me if I want to apply the dimension with the X and Y axis, which is okay, I can confirm it. And I have under my video the tracking point animation, which is fully recorded. Now I have just to include the element I want to add to this tracking. For example, a text, an animation, a picture, a logo that I previously created in Illustrator, for example. For now, it's enough to have just a text. Let's call track. If you want to set up the character, you can choose the font. In this case, I'm using Futura Bold, and the size and the color. I position the text over the van in a side, and to let the text moving together with the track layer, in the layer palette, every single layer has this parent peak. If it's not visible in you have to go on the corner left and expand your layer palette until it's visible, the parent layer. So I connect the track text with the tracker layer like this, with a parent peak whip. Now when I play, the van is moving and also my text is moving together with this. If I want to have my text that blends together with the image, I can also add, with a blending mode, a lighten blending or an overlay blending, so that it takes the same color of the van. And this is the result. The second example I want to give you is with another video which I imported. The video I'm going to use is this. I drag it on the composition so that it fits perfectly on my screen. I choose one part of the video, so double click. Let's take the first 1 second of video. Second number 1. I crop it with a set out button and I close the layer, so I go back on the composition. So this is my 1 second video. I open the tracker layer, the tracker palette from the main menu, window tracker. I have it on the right, tracker palette. I have to click on track motion, and in this case I want to track the position but also the scale, so I have 2 tracking points instead of 1. I select the first track point and I move it in a place where I have the maximum contrast, so I increase the size and I prepare it so that it fits perfectly with my object. Let's do it in the beginning of the video, so something like that. Okay, a little bit more up and a little bit more up. Okay, I think now it's working. Let's move also the tracking point number 2. Okay, let's enlarge it so that it fits perfectly with my sides. Let's check it again. So this goes up a little bit, up a little bit. Okay, here we are. Now we have to set up the target, so again we have to create a null object with layer new, null object. We call this track layer, so we position our cursor on the name, enter, track layer, and we set up the target with this tracker layer. Okay, we play the analyze forward so that he start analyzing our video. We have always to check if it's following correctly our tracking point or not. It takes time, of course, because it's analyzing 2 tracking points instead of just 1. Always be sure that it's keeping the tracking. If not, we can click on this icon and we can set up and adjust the track point recording frame by frame. We almost complete. Few seconds more, and here we are. Okay, now we have to create the object we would like to have for the tracking. For example, a text or a logo type. In this case, I create just a text frame. Tracking. I choose character with black color so it's visible. Futura bold. So tracking with black color. Okay. Or track also. I position the object, for example, in front of the car or just in a side like that. And I connect with a parent peak together with the tracker layer. And this is the tracking with 2-point position and scale. Okay, so it's following perfectly the car. The third exercise, we are going to use the 3D camera tracker. So to do that, I import a new video, file, video, and this is the video I'm going to use. So this is a person running, and this is how the video is. So as you can see, he is running, but we are not going to follow him. We are going to follow the camera. To do that, first I have to apply the effect, which is called 3D camera tracker. We drag it over the video, but instead the video is very long. We have first to cut the video. So let's make this video 5 seconds long, it's enough. Let's do also a little bit less. 3 seconds, it's okay. I cut it with a crop set out, and I drag the effect over the layer 3D camera tracker. He's analyzing, and here on the left side of your interface, you have the effect, you have the specific of the effect, and the setting, we have also the timing. So now it's starting to analyze. So as you can see, here we have 80%, 10%, and now it's giving us the remaining time. So it's missed around 30 seconds. Let's wait. I remind you that everything is here. It's also under the layer you have in your layer palette. It's missed around 15 seconds, so let's finish to analyze. When he will finish to analyze, the create camera button, it will be active, and we can add a 3D camera tracker. So it just finished to analyze it, and in a couple of seconds I can activate the create camera button. I press on it, create camera, and I get a new 3D tracker camera. Now I'm ready. As you can see from here, my video, it's fully tracked with this little element which is called target size. I can also, or track point size, I can also increase the size, and this is fully tracked, so this is the area where I want to work. I include a text, for example my title, which I'm moving on top like this. Consider that the camera is in 3D. Every time you are working with a 3D object, you have to remember that the layer should be transformed into 3D. So you have to click on this cube icon. If you don't have it, remember first to enlarge your palette, your layer palette from here on the corner left. So now the text follows the movement of the camera. As you can see, he follows the movement of the camera. Of course, you can add other objects, and they will all follow this. For example, I can add another text, my title, and this I move it in this side, and title I move it under like this, with a different font size, so that it's a little bit more interesting also in terms of typography. So my title goes here. They both 3D layer, so they both move together with an animation. And that's it. So I hope you liked this tutorial. And if you want to discover more tutorial about professional post-production in After Effects, professional post-production in Photoshop, please follow my page on my profile. Thank you. And if you want, publish your project under the section project. All the best.